Just waiting to see who's next here, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Tech Priest, how you doing, brother?
Accolonn, my man, you are looking good. I see that the workout's working out well for you.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm doing well, man. Thank you very much for saying so. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. So I've got like a stupid question of all stupid questions. You
Uh-huh.
think, they're gonna get to the sword in the world eventually.
Yeah.
They have to. It's a big honking stick sticking out like a damn turkey baster. But
Yeah.
the thing is, what do you think they're actually? How do you think they're gonna get it out? Are they like gonna get a spaceship to pull it out or something, or they're gonna magic it out, or hell, even better, maybe shrink it down small enough to give to the player character and say, "Here's your new artifact weapon."
All right, so we know for a fact that there is a story coming with the sword. We know for a fact that there is a story. Steve Denuser have confirmed that there is a story. It's just not yet ready. So I'm gonna not be negative about this, even though I am very salty about the sword and the processes that the sword has not gone through. And I'm just gonna focus purely on what the sword could be. So there's a prophecy about the sword that no one focuses on. I even forgot about it. If it wasn't for Apocalypse that reminded me yesterday about the prophecy, I would have completely forgotten. The prophecy of Sargeras' sword says that it will eventually be reunited with its other half by a person of pure goodness and intention. That's the prophecy around the sword.
Please don't tell me they're gonna give it to Anduin.
It's not Anduin, no. The player holds the other part of the sword. If you killed Agrimar and you looted Agrimar's blade, you have the other sword. So the sword either...
Taishalak is like about 8 times the size of the player. How does that even work?
Well, it would all depend on how Titan technology works, because we know that Titans can change their size based in relation to where they are. This is as canonical as can be, right? So Titans can change their size. Sargeras can absolutely appear to us as just normal mortal if he wanted to. So that means that maybe his sword can change size as well. But why do you just assume that that sword is going to come down to us? Our sword could go up to its level and could then be used by someone of pure soul and heart, which might be Azeroth, this could be the ultimate blade of Azeroth. Azeroth's heart would be pure, maybe, I guess. I don't know. So it could be that Azeroth wakes up and then asks the player to hand over their blade, and then use that blade to merge the swords and become the ultimate hero or some shit like that, right? There's a lot of ways that Blizzard could go with the sword. Purely removing the sword is obviously not an option, at least not for us. The only way Sargeras' sword gets removed is if 1, Sargeras comes back and removes it himself. 2, another Titan comes and removes the sword on behalf of Sargeras. This might be considered too dangerous, so the Titans would probably not do it. And the reason for it is, you never know, removing the sword could kill Azeroth, because it might start the bleeding again. So they might not be willing to remove the sword. So the only other option then would be either a bigger, badder threat, so the threat that Zuval warned us against, comes and removes the sword, or Azeroth herself removes the sword. Those are the options that we're left with right now for the sword.
Well, let's hope that the bigger, badder threat isn't Hogger, because if it's Hogger, God help us all.
I would love if Blizzard just did Hogger as a proper raid boss. That would be, like, it was such a missed opportunity. Shadowlands should absolutely have had Hogger as one of the first raid bosses. It would have been phenomenal. But yeah, I don't really know what the story of the blade is going to be. I obviously have sort of a wish list of what I would like to see of the blade and the story that sort of ends the tale of the blade. I don't think Blizzard is ever going to do that. So far, every single time we've come up with a slightly like a slight intricate story, Blizzard have disappointed. So I'm afraid of even wishing for an intricate, complex, deep interwoven story. I sort of think Blizzard is probably, especially considering the fact that they've done nothing with that fucking sword for 2 expansions now, 3 if Dragonflight doesn't have anything with the sword. I think it's fair to assume that whatever conclusion we get to the sword is going to be rather flavorless. You know, it's going to be one of those things where you go to eat out and the food is just kind of okay. You know, it's not amazing. It's fine, you know. At least it's food. And it didn't taste too shit. It's kind of what I'm thinking we'll get right now, but that's purely based on my own saltiness of not getting anything with that sword for 2 expansions. 3 of Dragonflight also does nothing with it.
Can't be more salty than what happened to Yotsuyo, but that's just me.
Yeah, but I mean, Yotsu is an actual good story.
Yeah.
You know, the difference between World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy is that Final Fantasy has an actually good story, and it's actually told brilliantly. But I'm not about to judge the World of Warcraft story compared to the Final Fantasy story, because while the World of Warcraft lore absolutely has the ability to be phenomenal, it's not the same game. It shouldn't be the same game. We were actually talking about this last week during one of the streams where someone asked me, do I think World of Warcraft should have the same kind of storytelling as Final Fantasy? And as much as I love Final Fantasy, I think no. I think you would do World of Warcraft a tremendous disservice if you made the WoW story, if you told the WoW story the same as you do the Final Fantasy story. Final Fantasy works because that is what players want from it. I don't know a single player that plays World of Warcraft that wants that has ever wanted that kind of storytelling from World of Warcraft. We don't want to sit in endless cinematics, listening to dialogue between characters. In World of Warcraft, it's kind of as if we've accepted the fact that the story is told to us broadly. Much of it is up to us to sort of figure out and speculate about, and we love that about the game because it allows us to speculate and it allows us to think about things and how it could be. We don't want the sort of everything is answered in the game 100% of the time without fail. So yeah, I wouldn't want that for WoW. I just wish they would actually do something with the sword, which is a whole different discussion, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's just like it's like I basically looked at that sword in the world and I was like, you guys literally have left a bleeding wound open and you're seriously not expecting the planet to get burnt out.
Well, they believe they've cauterized it, right? So because we drew out the power that was within the sword, the wound is now cauterized. The wound is no longer dangerous. So at least that's the story right now.
All right, that's fair. That was the only real question I had, and I'm just gonna step out so that a couple of other guys can ask theirs. But
I appreciate it.
Yeah, that was pretty much.
Thank you so much for the question, bro. I hope to see you again soon.
Likewise. You have a good one, Akko.
Tech Priest, you as well, bro. Take care of yourself, man.
Likewise. Bye-bye.
Peace.